Welcome to Rappler Talk. I am Ralph Rivas. Ngayon ay makakausap natin ang tatlong Pilipino na nasa iba't ibang bansa ngayon para tanungin at alamin kung kumusta nga ba sila matapos nitong coronavirus pandemic. Alam naman natin na itong pandemic na ito ay talagang iba't iba yung impact at talagang it really aggravated the various inequalities in society right now. So, kasama natin si Faith Capulong, isang student based in Milan, Italy. She's been there for 10 years now with her family. Good afternoon, Faith.
Afternoon. Good
And then,
evening na pala.
evening na ba dyan? Kasi dito
Sa
evening na
inyo,
eh.
evening na.
Yeah. And then, si Jansen Calvelo naman, a master's student based in Notre Dame, Netherlands. He was supposed to travel around Europe for his studies. Must have been dapat fun time to ngayon, but now naka-self-quarantine siya ngayon. Good afternoon din,
Thanks
Jensen.
for having me.
And then we also have here Rafi Soler, who is in Malaga, Spain. He's been in Spain for quite a while. Also in a lockdown. Ngayon.
Yes, magandang gabi sa inyo lahat. Buenas noches.
Okay, so unahin natin si Faith kasi yung Italy talagang apektado talaga, like sobrang daming deaths. So and cases. So how are you guys there?
Okay, so sa family ko naman, I can say that we are okay, fortunately. And but dito lang sa Italy talaga, mas sobrang lumaganap ang virus na ito. And it started on January pa lang. And but then it wasn't really easy for us, lalo na sa family ko, because my parents are still working until now, and even my siblings goes to work pa rin hanggang ngayon. And then but the problem here is yung syempre ang daming nagbago, and then of course yung aming mga pag-grocery. Dati kasi you used to go sa grocery every week. Ngayon paminsan-minsan na lang because of the virus nga. And then I remember that it started from three cases lamang, and in just 3 days, umabot na kami ng 289, and then the days after, tumaas, adding up like 200 people a day yung nagkakaroon ng positive cases.
So anong feeling nun na parang biglang boom, ang dami na agad? Did you guys panic? What did the government do nung dumadami na yung kaso?
The lockdown was announced in Milan kasi, and I am Milan based. But then I remember that day, it was February 23. I was supposed to go to Como. And then I heard lang, nandun ako sa Como, narinig ko that nagpa-panic buying na ang mga tao dito sa Milan. So what we did, me and my friends, nag-grocery kami sa Como, and sobrang calm lang doon, and then sobrang dami pang pagkain. Yet dito sa Milan, nakikita ko sa mga pictures ng friends ko, and I asked my sister to buy groceries then. Wala nang laman yung mga pantry nila, wala nang kahit ano. But then at first ako talaga, sincerely speaking, I wasn't panicking. I mean, hindi ko siya masyadong pinoblema until nalaman ko that it started in Milan talaga, or in Lombardy, the region of Milan. Pero
So,
hindi talaga.
So ngayon, kumusta yung situation since nag-start yung pandemic?
They announced that we will be opening again on May 3. Ngayon, though marami pa rin cases, parang sinabi nila that we will open on May 3 na. It will be magiging almost pa lang normal. But then kasi I cannot call this lockdown eh. Italy has been calling it lockdown. But then for me, it is quarantine since may quarantine pa rin siya kasi yung mga kapatid ko, they still go to work eh. Parang my father still goes to work, and I cannot consider it. Talagang ang akin, ang takot ko is kapag bumalik sila sa bahay, what if hindi sila okay or anything like that. But then,
So if you're not calling it a lockdown, parang ano ba yung sa definition mo, kung ano ba talaga yung matuturing mo na talagang lockdown, as in totally well, ikaw para sa iyo, ano yung
para
sa
sa akin kasi lockdown is totally, hindi naman totally, but then yung mga necessities lang talaga, like ang bukas, like yung mga groceries nga, mga pharmacies, which are open naman. But then my siblings still goes to work. My sister works in a bank. My brother works in a coffee production. Pero hindi naman siya sa factory, but in the office. But then they're encouraged naman. Parang yung Italy has encouraged these companies to let their yung mga employees nila na magtrabaho at home. Pero hindi ko maintindihan why some ay pinapayagan pa rin magtrabaho in offices.
So, anong feeling mo ngayon na magbubukas na ngayong May 3, tama ba sabi mo? Pero marami pa ring cases, di ba? So,
I don't
ano sa
know.
tingin mo? Tama ba yun?
I don't think talaga na okay siya. Actually, nung una pa lang sinabi ko na parang maybe it will be better if nag-lockdown na lang kami, talagang total lockdown in 2 weeks. You tell us na, okay, buy your things, parang buy food na for the 2 weeks and let's see what will happen. Sana nag-disinfect. Kasi hindi ko, nag-disinfect kami siguro once ko lang narinig na nag-disinfect kami dito sa area namin eh. Pero hindi ko magets why. Actually, personally, I don't understand why. Are we going to open on May 3 with the 106,000 people who are still positive in virus? Kasi we don't do mass testings here also. In Milan, we don't do it. So I don't know if I don't know if I am positive to the virus but I don't have the symptoms. Pero hindi ko talaga masisigurado kung talagang okay lang ako or not. Or if the
Wow!
environment is
That's,
already safe.
that must be unsettling or parang kabado ka siguro pag lumalabas, no? Kasi walang mass testing tapos magbubukas din kayo ulit.
Yeah.
So, sa tingin mo kailangan pa ng more response from the government there?
I guess, but yeah. Actually, para sa akin sana talaga na mas nakikita ko sana that they are doing something. I cannot say anything kasi I'm not from the government, I'm not an Italian citizen. But then, hindi ko nakikita masyado ha. Hindi ko masasabing wala silang effort kasi nag-lockdown kami. They required us a week ago or 2 weeks ago to put on mask when we go out. Pero 2 weeks ago lang nila ni-require yun. And that was parang sana nung una pa lang ni-require na and everything. But then, ngayon na mag-open kami ng meeting, I don't know what will happen and sana maging okay na lahat because staying at home can be really it's tiring for me as a student. I cannot stay in front of the computer the whole day. And they expect me to na makuha ko lahat ng inaaral ko from the computer. I cannot do that. But then sana maging okay na because I was supposed to go home on August. But then I guess hindi ako makakauwi ng Philippines.
So ano ba, tuloy pa rin ba yung classes dyan? Online classes
Yeah.
pa rin kayo?
Yeah, sabi nila that we will have online classes until September.
And then finally, before we move on to the other guests here, so anong ginagawa mo to keep yourself busy and healthy?
I guess I'm still busy going on online classes. Talagang, kasi we started, parang yung my university was able to do online classes na parang normal lang talaga naming pagpasok sa school. So I wake up I started 9 a.m. in the morning and I finish at 5 p.m. Minsan hanggang 7 p.m. pa yan. But in front of the computer and I have 1 hour break lang. And I guess that yun talaga ang kumakain ng oras ko dito. But then, as I said, I started vlogging talaga. I thought I could do both, but then hindi ko pala kaya because school has been, talagang kinakain ng oras ko the whole day. And ayun nga, parang since we are on lockdown with China, hindi na kami nagpa-fast food, hindi na rin kami nagpapa-deliver talaga ng food. Which is dati we used to do that. So parang for staying healthy, we eat food na lang na ginagawa namin at home. And then, my parents told us to take vitamins na.
Okay, so ikaw naman, Jansen, you're also a student pero sa Netherlands naman. So hearing Faith's experience, can you compare yung experience mo sa experience niya?
Yeah, actually yung first case ng yung first infection in the Netherlands is a Dutch who visited Lombardy as well. I remember it was around February 27 when the Dutch government started informing the citizens na meron na ang case ng COVID sa Netherlands. Pero I think it took like several weeks bago magkaroon ng stricter measures sa the Netherlands. Kasi I think after that news, February 27, business as usual pa rin lahat. So makikita mo yung mga tao, di pa sila ganun nagpa-panic buying, normal lang yung classes, normal lang yung actions ng mga tao. And then after, I think it was around March 15 when the number of cases swelled. Doon na nag-start yung stricter measures wherein yung mga tao nag-panic buying na rin sila. And it was actually a bit surprising for me kasi yung mga tao dito, yung way nila ng pagiging alarmed sa ganitong instances ay iba siguro sa way nating Filipinos. For example, nagugulat ako na nauubos yung tissue dito. I mean, yun yung una nila which is, I don't know, I don't understand it at all, pero apparently ganun yung nangyayari. Pero yung measures by then, March 15, hindi ganun ka-strict to the point na nagla-lockdown lahat and closed yung establishment. I remember all around the area, meron lang mga advisory, text messages, announcement from the university and the government to wash your hands, cough on your elbow, use tissue paper, and as much as possible, don't shake other people's hands and observe this social distancing. So, ganun lang that time yung mga measures na nangyayari. And then, after some weeks, dun na rin nag-start, I think it was when the number of cases hit around 1,000 or more, doon na nag-start mag-close yung mga establishment and nag-stop na rin yung classes namin. And like in the case in Italy, nag-start din kami ng online classes. And until now, and I think until probably the end of the school year, mag-online classes na lang kami because of the current circumstances.
I can imagine na, I think, baka, are you disappointed na, kasi if I were studying abroad, I'd be, parang road trip na rin yun, di ba? Tapos ngayon, with all the lockdown, you get to stay there and parang deal with online classes na lang din.
Yeah, actually, the Netherlands is quite famous for its tulip season. Yung nagbo-blossom those tulips around the particular area in the Netherlands, in the north. And this spring, yun yung time para talagang pumunta doon. Although unfortunately, closed siya dahil sa pandemic. And at the same time, yung weather ngayon compared for the past few months, actually napakaganda, very bright, very sunny, like back home in the Philippines. So ang sarap sana lumabas, to roam around. Unfortunately, hindi ganoon ka-free or kalaya yung tingin ko pag ginawa ko yan kasi nga with the looming danger of coronavirus.
May mass testing ba dyan? Kumusta yung testing dyan?
Yeah, I think to be fair with the Dutch government, maaga silang nag-start ng testing. And last time I checked, they're currently performing 4,000 tests per day for the frontliners and at-risk groups. And I think there are certain news pronouncement from the Dutch government na plano nilang gawing quadruple yung testing kasi talagang very calculated yung government dito. They didn't perform any knee-jerk responses. So it took them some time, weeks, para talagang magkaroon ng measures. Pero when they started doing measures, I was able to see how calculated it was and how comprehensive it was.
What about lockdowns or restricted movement of people?
Yeah, when the stricter measures were announced here in the Netherlands, I immediately called my family kasi they were telling me how strict the measures were back home. I think napaka-strict sa Philippines to the point na kailangan mo ng permit or passes just to go from one city to another. And that is not the case here in the Netherlands kasi the public transportation is still functioning. People can still go outside pero bawal ka lang lumabas with more than 3 people and you have to observe the 1.5 meter social distancing. So in general, marami pa ring tao sa labas. Pero you can see the general environment na talagang nagiging careful sila. And I've had this instance where I was walking outside with my friend and a Dutch person or a Dutch actually told me na lumayo kami sa isa't isa kasi hindi kami malayo 1.5 meters. So, yeah, so, yun. Hindi siya ganun ka-strict. And I wouldn't consider it as a lockdown kasi you can still go from one place to another without having permits or whatsoever.
So, What about you, Rafi? Hearing their experiences, how can you compare your experience there in Spain as compared to Italy and the Netherlands?
Well, I think sa ngayon, Spain and Italy are competing, I think, in terms of first place,
Mm.
second place, because it really has hit Spain very hard. I mean, the first case of the virus was detected on the 31st of January with a German tourist vacationing in the Canary Islands. I mean, there was a whole hotel with 1,000 guests that had to go on lockdown, quarantine, as they called it in the beginning. And then we had additional cases of Spanish football fans going to Milan to watch a football game while everything was up and about already, I think. And obviously they came back to Valencia, for example, so that sort of increased the spread. So I think the cases here were really imported from Italy. I work for a company that has offices in Italy as well, and we could tell with our colleagues in Italy how things were going, and it wasn't very easy. And then, nung March 8, may International Women's Day dito, madaming complaint sa gobyerno na meron ng cases ng virus sa Spain. Pinatuloy pa rin yung March, International Women's Day March, kasama mga politiko. And they said it was very irresponsible for them to have done that. But anyway, it's a very big political. There's a lot of political turmoil as well because of the outbreak, and then obviously, like I don't think any country was prepared for this. But then I think we had a very interesting, although terrible, gift from Italy that there were cases going on there already. We could have maybe, my ideas, we could have taken care, maybe have been more cautious in terms of the measures taken. In terms of lockdown naman dito, we can really say lockdown. Nung March 14th, the state of alarm was declared through royal decree. So, which basically, in the very beginning, I was actually working on March 14th, and little by little, we could see number of clients dwindling. Ang nangyari dito, 14th of March, nag 15 days initial, let's say, state of alarm. Tapos on I believe, the 24th of March, in-extend na naman ng 2 weeks now, full lockdown. Only essential industries could work, banks, pharmacies, caregivers, for example, but everybody else had to work from home. We call it teletrabajo, basically working from a distance. And ang lockdown dito iba naman dahil you cannot go out, let's say, to do anything you want. You cannot go out to run. You can go out and walk the dog, which is a big thing for us because it's basically the only way you can actually go outside. And then it's also again limited to your immediate area. Eh, yung namang mga sa kotse, you're only allowed one person in a car unless you're driving some elderly person or minor to another place that is essential travel. And apart from that, we are not allowed to join groups of more than one person. I say no joinings. People go out on their balconies every day at 8 o'clock in the evening. They clap, they play music, they clap. The police cars come with their sirens. I think I mentioned as well na in my little notes na nung isang araw sa tapat ng bahay ng mami ko, dumating yung police, may sirens and all, dahil may batang may birthday, sa kalye na yun. So lumabas yung bata sa balcony niya, kinakantahan ng mga police yung happy birthday, tapos lahat ng mga tao nagpapalakpakan. It's really a very emotional experience, no? But again, like Italy, perhaps we are adapting. We're pretty much following Italy in terms of the lockdown stages, in terms of bringing people back to the industry little by little. But I think a lot of testing has to be done. There's some controversy about the number of tests being given, whether it's a number of people being given or a number of tests being given, because a person could go to 2 or 3 different tests. So the numbers are not very transparent, and really, I mean, there's a lot more to do in terms of getting the right information out there.
What about mass testing?
Walang mass testing.
Halimbawa, ikaw kung gusto mo. Kung gusto mo magpa-test ngayon, can you do that?
Yes, you could do it. I think the government is controlling it as well. There were private laboratories that allowed you to do testing from 150 euros to 350 euros. But the government has started to control that as well because, I've probably heard there as well all over Europe that, Spain had bought the initial, I think, 600,000 test kits from China, which turned out to be defective. They were supposed to have at least an 80% effectivity ratio, and they only had 30%. So that was all sent back. So there's still a lot of, obviously, that in terms of testing, in terms of masks and PPEs, what have you. The priority is for the frontliners because they are, I think we have probably about 15,000 frontliners already affected with the virus as well. So obviously, if we cannot take care of the frontliners, who will take care of the sick? And I think this is something that's going on in many places. Totally unexpected, obviously, and I guess nobody was prepared. You cannot even buy masks in the pharmacies, for example. You have to find out, check around where you can get them, and basically where the small Chinese retail stores that were selling the masks in the beginning of the crisis, but they closed as well. So you have no more means to get them unless the government starts introducing that again.
So, kayo ba, sa tingin nyo, I mean, kaya ako kayo kausap because we wanna learn about your experiences. So, sa tingin nyo, what can the Philippines learn from the countries that you're at right now? Ikaw, Faith, sa tingin mo, pwede naming mapulot na aral dyan sa Italy?
Ayun, I know that there is a difference talaga sa sitwasyon namin dito, economically speaking din. But siguro right now, the only thing that I can tell you guys, kasi I remember on the first days ng quarantine namin dito, every 12 o'clock in the afternoon and every 8 p.m. in the afternoon, lumalabas talaga, hindi man lumalabas, but then binubuksan namin yung windows namin and then nagsha-shout sila ng Forza Italia! And then everybody was together talaga. It was really emotional. Talagang mga unang van yan nangyayari. The only thing that I can share with you na sana we stay united. We cancel all the cancelin muna natin ang ating ang ating mga status in life. Tayong mga mas yung mga taong mas may kakayanan is sana tumulong tayo for those people that who are not. And then ganon din dito parang hindi meron kasing pinapamigay dito ng mga bonus pesa, yun yung mga free na mga groceries and all, but may mga requirements din kami dito. So it means na yung mga may kakayanan naman is hindi na, may points kasi, may point system. So yung mga may kakayanan, hindi na sila masyadong pinaprioritize dito ng Milan. But then yung mga talagang walang-wala na, sila yung mas nabibigyan. And then sana gano'n rin tayo sa Philippines na tanggalin muna natin ang ating mga status sa buhay, kung sino ang mayaman, sino ang mahirap. But in this moment talaga, we are all equal. And then magtulungan tayo, yun lang talaga. As much as possible, sana makita dito talaga yung kung paano talaga tayo mga Pilipino to each other.
Ikaw, Johnson, based on your experience there, what can the Philippines learn kaya?
Yeah, I think, again, obviously different ang the Netherlands with the Philippines, socio-economically, culturally, and politically. And siguro just a caveat for what I'm about to say. It's quite easier, I think, yung responsibility ng government dito since, one, they only have 17 million people in the Netherlands, which pales in comparison with the Philippines. We have more than 100 million people. Yung population density pa lang nung Manila, for example, mas madali na kumalat yung infection, for example. So that would modify sort of the measures ng government. And at the same time, I would agree na wala ring talagang nag-expect na mangyayari tong pandemic na to. No one is ready and prepared to deal with this. But going to my point, I think one of the things that really struck me in the terms of how the government or the Netherlands dealt with this pandemic is how they never left anyone behind, or how they tried to focus on the vulnerable groups within their population. So I think during the onset of the pandemic, I received a lot of emails from the Dutch embassy, the Dutch Foreign Ministry, and at the same time yung Philippine Embassy, informing us that there's an option or there's a policy of extending our temporary residence permit, and there are several measures din na nag-aalaw ng protection sa mga convicted persons, sa mga homeless, yung talagang vulnerable parts ng the society. So it's really refreshing to see that. And at the same time, it's really helpful na nakikita mo agad readily yung support ng government, which allows the people to be more relaxed and to focus less on making ends meet and focus more on how they could help each other. So I think in a nutshell, opportunity rin tong pandemic na to really practice yung tinatawag natin back home na bayanihan, bayanihan natin, no? So hopefully magta-translate just sa country.
Johnson, quick question lang, no? Halimbawa, magkasakit ka dyan, coronavirus or not, sa tingin mo, ma-accommodate ka na mabilis dyan sa Netherlands?
Yeah, actually, I've had instances where yung mga friends ko, meron silang mild symptoms ng flu, which in this point in time, very difficult na i-address. And actually, ang ginawa yung friend ko, he tried to communicate with the general practitioner dito sa Dutch healthcare. Ang sinabi lang sa kanya ay mag-observe muna. Kasi hanggat wala kang extreme symptoms or hanggat hindi ka certain or guaranteed na meron kang coronavirus, hindi ka talaga nila ma-address. Kasi nga, again, yung population nila and yung capacity ng healthcare nila, it's only equipped to handle like 10,000 at least. So, yung right now crowded yung lahat ng hospitals, lahat ng emergency room crowded, so they're trying to really prioritize those with extreme symptoms and cases of coronavirus. So, in
Mm.
other words, hindi ako agad ma-address kung meron lang akong mild symptoms.
Mm. Ikaw naman, Rafi, what do you think the Philippines can learn from Spain? Any good or bad practices that you
Well,
think?
I guess a mix of both, but I totally agree with Faith. I mean, I think at this moment, we have to understand that it doesn't matter what car you drive or what clothes you wear. We're all in this together. So basically, what is really maybe keeping the Spanish people optimistic, let's say, is pretty much it's strict controls on confinement. I mean, the other day I went to the grocery, I was stopped by the police. Where was I going? Where do I live? How far am I going from where I live just to do my shopping? It was important to concentrate on keeping people in a confined area, let's say. Maybe respect for the law and the law enforcers and the frontliners. I think it's very important that we should follow their advice. I mean, I'm sure they're doing their jobs very very well. General collaboration, population, a supportive society. For example, here in our town, we had received a message from the mayor asking for volunteers to call the elderly, who are mostly living on their own, to give them some support, to give them a call maybe once or twice a day to make sure they're doing okay. If they need groceries, there are people volunteering to buy groceries for other people. And I think also the appreciation, as I said again every day, that we show the frontliners. I think this is a time where maybe the people are more united amongst ourselves than with the government, maybe, because obviously there are a lot of things that are still missing that have to be done. And I think the Spanish people, I mean, like Filipinos, I think we inherited something very strong from the Spanish as well. Is that our desire, our passion to be out in the streets, to have a beer, to hug each other, to this is what I think the Spanish people are looking forward to once this is all over. Go out there and then and meet all your friends and I don't know, maybe just go back to having a social life. This is I think important to keep that in mind. It will end soon. But a lot of fellow Filipinos work in service related industries, so hotels, restaurants, and Spain and Italy. I speak also for Italy because I know the country very well. We are very reliant on tourism. And tourism, if you look at the times we're living, is really the zero tourism. So basically, a lot of our kababayans are working in hotels, restaurants, and obviously they are out of jobs. I myself am on furlough, on a temporary layoff. But again, because why are we in this job? Because we're very hospitable people. We like people. We like to deal with people. And perhaps this is one of the points where I myself, as a personal experience, feel that it's something we hope will come back to the way it was pre coronavirus.
Yeah, and you work in the tourism sector, correct? Diba?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
talagang
Zero.
across the world, talagang wala.
Across the world. I mean, I work for a luxury designer outlet, as I mentioned. We have 5 centers in Italy, one of them in Milan. And yeah, we've basically seen places where we had a lot of obviously Southeast Asian and Chinese visitors coming over. Those numbers have dwindled. Of course, this is a very big industry, and not only hotels, restaurants, but tour operators, museums. I mean, Italy, for example, is probably number one in terms of heritage sites in the world. Spain comes quite right next to that. So yeah, so how will it be after this is over? How will people travel? I travel for a living, and I was supposed to be in Dubai this week for a Arabian travel market, and that was canceled. So how will this play out to our kababayans to begin with, who are working very much in this people to people, let's say, industries. So it'll be quite interesting to see how we manage to go back to a certain sort of normality when this is all over.
Yeah, and there are projections that travel parang parang hindi magno-normalize agad yun. Parang some people are saying na baka hanggang 2022 pa nga na
Yes,
bumalik sa
yes.
talagang normal. So,
Yes.
anong strategy mo ngayon, Rafi, with
Well,
that?
I've been listening to quite a few webinars, on what the future would look like. I was listening to one today on a marketing point of view, but obviously everything is a hypothesis at this moment. China, they say, is slowly getting out of the virus environment, let's say, and they're starting to open shops. They're starting to open not restaurants, really, but more like shops. Everything is being done online again, so we're missing the people part if everything is done online. Austria is open slowly this week. Shops, stores, no theaters, no clubs, no restaurants yet, but stores slowly by slowly. So I think it's a wait and see. I think there are many things we can listen to, but again, at the moment, it's hypothesis, and I would like to wait maybe further on down the road to see how this will pan out.
What about your studies, Jansen? Anong plano mo?
Yeah, actually, malaki yung impact ng pandemic, of course, sa studies ko. Aside from having it online, I was supposed to go to Africa to conduct like field work and interviews to do my thesis. So right now, I don't think that's still possible. So I'm trying to look for alternatives to make my thesis work. And I think generally, ganun din yung environment dito sa the Netherlands. Everyone's trying to figure out how's the future going to be, and I think that's also has a lot of impact with how the changes would be made. And going back to my studies, I think everything's uncertain, confusing, pero at the same time, pero we just have to take everything one step at a time. Yeah.
Ilang semesters ka na ba?
This is actually my last semesters, and I'm planning to do internships here in the Netherlands. So again, I'm not sure if that's still going to happen because of the situation right now. And
Yeah, kasi there are discussions na ipasa na lang lahat. Parang like, di ba? So,
That's happening here. That's happening here in Spain.
What about there?
The same here. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's not the most ideal, di ba?
yeah, I don't think that's feasible here in the Netherlands kasi they're really trying their best to continue with the online education. So even the exams are being made online, requirements are being made virtually. So I think generally speaking, gusto pa rin nilang tapusin yung semester and magkaroon ng proper evaluation tools aside from just letting everyone pass.
And then Faith, sundutin ko lang yung yung point mo na sinabi kanina that people were receiving aid and then may priority levels. So paano nila ginagawa 'yun?
Meron kasing parang may registration online siya. And then they will ask you kung kung magkano yung sweldo annually ninyo as a family. Kung anong situation nyo, kung ilan ang bata sa isang pamilya. And then may mga points sila doon na pinag-aaralan kung paano ba talaga nila maibibigay itong mga groceries na ito.
And then paano nila binibigay? Physical? As in dinideliver? Or
Dinideliver sa houses. Kasi ako personally, hindi kami pwede. But yung ibang mga friends ko, I see them na pinapadalahan sila sa houses. But hindi lang naman ang Milan. But meron din mga ibang mga organizations dito na nagbibigay din talaga sa mga nangangailangan.
So, pero kayo dyan, sa Filipino communities na hindi qualified nga or hindi makabibigyan yan, paano kayo natutulungan? Embassy?
Kami as a family kasi parang medyo stable naman kami. So, we are okay. Pero mayroong kaibigan aking mga magulang na talaga kasi dito sa Philippines, sa Milan, maraming mga Filipinos na nagtatrabaho for the Chinese people. So, kasi nung umpisa pa lang, kasi yung mga dito talaga, yung mga restaurants, mga shops, yung mga hotels din, talagang owner dito, madalas is mga Chinese. So, noong umpisa pa lang na nag-declare ng lockdown dito, nag-close na sila. I don't know if it's, kung ito ba ay galing sa government nila. But then, by that moment, nag-close sila and then may mga Pilipino tayo dito, mga kababayan na nawalan na rin na ng trabaho, na wala silang trabaho and wala silang income. So in this season, medyo sila ang may nangangailangan talaga. Those people na nagtatrabaho sa Chinese kasi talaga doon talaga marami talagang mga trabaho with
So
them.
paano
And
sila? How do they reach out for help? Kanino sila lalapit?
The good thing here is kami sa Filipino community namin, because I'm from JL, Jesus is Lord Church, so we are really knitted together. So if meron kaming mga ka-church na nangailangan, we are naman happy to help. Sa amin, sa church namin, our pastor is really open on helping. And then, meron mga ibang organizations, Filipino organizations, na talaga nagbibigay din sila ng groceries for Filipinos who are in need.
Rafi, dyan sa Spain, may similar support system din ba yung Filipino community?
I believe there are quite a few organizations here where I live in Malaga. There are about 3 or 4 associations of Filipinos, and obviously they always keep in touch to see if somebody needs something specific. As far as I know, at the moment, walang humihingi. I know that some people who work as caregivers, for example, for the elderly, were told to stop working for maybe a week or two because I think the families were afraid about the contagion. But now they've been asked to go back to work. I had a chat with the Filipino consul here, honorary consul, a couple of days ago. I mean, there are 5,000 Filipinos here in the Malaga region, let's say, and there hasn't been any cases of any positive for COVID-19. So in the meantime, I think Filipinos we're very resilient. We help each other when help is needed. In terms of the government here, they're also planning to do maybe some kind of handouts to people with families with only one parent, for example, the most vulnerable families perhaps. And
Pero paano yung system doon, Rafi? Kasi yung binanggit ni Faith, may online registration and then you just fill out a form there. So sa
well, this
Spain,
This is going to be pretty much similar. Inaayos pa rin 'yan kasi ang talagang ang saturated ang tawag dito ang government, even ministries. Imagine lahat ng civil servants, most of them are working from home as well. So with this teletrabajo kind of thing, so how productive can it be working from home? I mean, very few people are out in the streets. I mean, so this is something that we are looking into on almost a daily basis. It's sad to say that there is not very much provision you can do in this case, no. But it has been recognized. They're looking into giving also maybe a fixed fee or sort of like a handout from the government to families that need it to keep them going. I mean, you're not allowed to fire people now during the virus time, for example, until 6 months after the state of alarm has been lifted. You're not allowed to kick people out from their apartments. You're not allowed to switch electricity off or water off if people are not able to pay. So there are a lot of things that are being done. They've got a very big front of the government to handle. I mean, security, logistics, operations, social services. So all this is being put into play right now with, I guess, with less resources, not having people traveling working all together in a specific ministry to work on this. So they're trying their best, I guess. But people here are also, like in the Philippines, are very supportive of each other. The neighborhood is very, people are very close to their neighbors. They say hello, goodbye. They know everybody in the town, so which helps a lot. So people are quite supportive in this way. And also one of my neighbors who has got a fruit trees. Yesterday I was walking the dog and they actually put bags of lemons out and say if you need it,
that's
take it.
nice.
Yeah, so a lot of what is happening, I guess, more in the rural areas where they have a lot of trees and fruit trees and plants. But again, it's a sort of little bit. Every little bit helps.
So, dyan ba, Jensen, sa Netherlands, the socioeconomic response for those in need, parang is access very easy there?
Yeah, yung measures din dito, it's quite similar to Italy and Spain. I think there was this memorandum from certain non-government organization and government signifying that landlords can't kick out their tenants during the pandemic. So kahit di sila makabayad, they can stay in their accommodation. And at the same time, there are several shelters around the country where the homeless or those who don't have any money to buy food and don't have any money to look for a place to stay are being catered to. So maraming services available, especially to those who are in need. And I think marami pa ring measures na ginagawa. I remember that for small and medium enterprises, marami ring programs yung government that would make it easier for them to make loans and borrow money for their businesses. Kasi right now, ang situation sa jobs, maraming majority are required na mag-work from home, pero definitely hindi naman lahat ay kayang gawin yon. So yung mga hindi talaga kayang mag-work from home and they don't have anything else to do, they're being given certain leeway para hindi sila matanggal sa trabaho nila.
Okay, so finally, mass testing, yung narinig ko lang is that Netherlands yung mass testing. Both Italy, Spain, medyo problematic yung mass testing.
Walang capacity. At the moment, walang capacity. Because I guess the number of the cases as well. You know.
I heard that in Veneto, they're doing mass testing. Hindi ko lang ma-sure sa inyo ngayon. But in Venice, around Venice and meron daw. But here in Milan, we don't have it eh. Unless meron ka talagang symptoms talaga, dun lang nila ikaw iti-test. I guess.
Yeah. So kung walang mass testing pero magli-lift ng lockdown, I mean, halimbawa sa Spain, for instance, magli-lift na ba kayo soon?
Well, they partially lifted on Monday, so
yeah, pero wala pa ring mass testing.
Wala pa rin.
Anong feeling mo nun? Parang that's not very assuring.
No, it's not very assuring. In fact, I mean, people in Madrid, Barcelona, and the big cities, I mean, they've been going to work in the subway, for example. Ang police nagbibigay ng masks. Yung mask naman are only good for 4 hours. And it seems that only 20% of people who are working and taking mass transit are given masks. So it's not very let's say encouraging, you know. So I'm happy that to be on temporary layoff because then I don't have to go at least to work, you know. But yeah, it's quite difficult. And I just wanted to one point that, you know, in the lessons to be learned. I know it's very difficult in the Philippines due to the population size. Here, by law, supply of food and energy, electricity and water is guaranteed throughout the lockdown or throughout the state of alarm. So, I mean, obviously there are help for people who cannot afford food, but prices are not allowed to go up, for example. So, very, very strict. And again, you know, everybody, you know, in the beginning, as many said, maraming shortages sa mga supermarket. Ngayon, you can go to supermarket, maybe depending what time you go, Monday morning, siguro may pila para pumasok. But in the afternoons, really, you still find meat, you still find rolls of toilet paper. Maybe I'll get into the toilet paper business in a while. But there's quite supply, so I think that's important. In terms of going back to mass testing, it's not feasible at this moment. It's just basically for those facing the frontliners to keep the numbers down. Let's say of those who are ill, and then we've reached the curve. We had times where we had about 800 to 900 people dying every day. We're now down to 500, just like Italy. So 500 is still a big number for me, so it's not really very reassuring, you know.
Yeah. So Faith, paano yun? Faith, paano yun? Magli-lift ka ng lockdown May 3, tapos walang mass testing.
I don't know, hindi ko alam kung ano mangyayari. Since parang hindi ko talaga alam, but I really pray na maging maayos lahat. Since ang tagal na nito, it's been months since they imposed lockdown. And sana lang talaga na maging okay ang lahat. But then, without the mass testings, we will never be able to ensure talaga yung security ng mga tao dito.
Johnson, paano nila nagawa yun? Yung mass testing? They're trying 4,000 a day, no? Tama ba?
Yeah. I think, I'm not sure, pero yung definition kasi ng mass testing dito sa Netherlands, it's to prioritize at-risk groups and yung frontliners. So
may hierarchy pa rin.
Yeah, in other words, for example, I would like to get myself tested. Hindi rin ako makakapag-test kahit may mass testing dito. And another point rin siguro kasi as far as I know, yung Dutch government, they always prioritize these kinds of things. Yung siguro yung pagkaroon ng resilience ng buong country kasi for the longest time, they have this history of always being at the edge of something. For example, culturally kasi diba, it's called the Netherlands because they're literally below the sea level. So yung government lagi sila nag-invest into something that will literally save their population. And I think in this case, nagkiklik lang again yung ano nila, yung notion na kailangan nila mag-invest for the sake na mag-survive nga yung population nila. But then again, unti lang kasi talaga yung tao dito, so it wouldn't cost them that much to like invest in a lot of
Yeah,
things.
true.
They would have less funds for they have more funds because they have less people for services.
And
So
higher income
generally,
as well.
The income, definitely yan yung ano. So, yung walang lockdown, correct? Parang parang may social distancing pa rin, physical distancing. That's the
Yeah.
solution sa Netherlands. But never kayo nag-lockdown?
No, strict measures. Siguro yung measure na closest sa lockdown ay yung nag-close lahat ng establishment except for pharmacies, clinics, and hospitals. Kasi right now, closed talaga lahat ng, for example, usually open ang bars, ang shops, different shops. Closed siya right now. So, yun na yung pinaka-closest sa lockdown. Pero marami pa ring tao sa labas, which is sometimes quite weird. Kasi nga
Bakit
sunny
hindi sila
ngayon.
takot? Bakit hindi sila takot?
Yeah, I think culturally, the Dutch are really comfortable with their government. May malaki yung tiwala nila kasi before
And I
the
guess
measures-
baka maganda naman yung hospital din kasi.
Yeah, that
That's
too.
a factor.
Pero what I observed, especially when I talk to my Dutch friends, mataas yung trust nila, mataas yung tiwala nila sa government nila. Hindi nag-start mag-panic buying yung mga tao dito until mag-announce na ng stricter measures yung government. So yung correlation ng pagiging takot nila sa coronavirus, it's directly related sa measures ng government. So pag nakita nila na medyo nagiging strict na yung government nila, nako, mukhang seryoso na yung pandemic na nangyayari. So yun yung na-observe ko so far.
Sana it really ends soon kasi based dun sa interviews ko sa inyong tatlo, everybody is really having a hard time na various institutions, kahit pa you belong in a relatively you're in a relatively richer countries, nahihirapan din talaga sila. And yeah, I hope there'd be more mass testing, I suppose. Parang yan din yung isa sa na ano ko, so that we have a more accurate view on kung ilan na ba talaga yung gano'n na ba karami yung infected. And of course, definitely kung yung naaabot na tulong ng gobyerno to the most vulnerable sectors. And with that, thank you so much, Faith Capulong. It's na nasa Milan, Italy, Jansen Calvelo in the Netherlands, and Rafi Soler, who's in Spain. And I'm Ralph Rivas here from the Philippines. Thanks for watching.